Hello.
All right. Thank you guys for joining the live stream and thank you guys for in the Zoom. We're actually talking about Humanity 2.0 today, No Jobs Edition. This is going to be a super exciting episode talking about introducing UBI and what will happen when we have post-production no scarcity. It's going to be crazy. Yeah, Johnny, looking forward to it?
I'm looking forward to, we've got a great product here. Like McDonald's has a great product.
Yeah, we have a great product here, Johnny. We just want to take a bite out of, AI. Not a tiny bite, though, a big bite.
You took a bite out of bad viral videos yesterday, that's for sure. Inside jokes, people, inside jokes.
All right, guys, 4 seconds. Here we go.
Junior, how many thousands are on?
Welcome to Season 10 of Airhead Institute, your 45-minute AI power-up at noon Eastern. This month, we are broadcasting live across all the socials and Zoom. If you're new here, join our free AI community to grow alongside other curious minds and give your kids a head start by enrolling them in the Airhead After School program. Here's March's weekly lineup. Mondays, we take the training wheels off securely in the Open Claw Bootcamp. Tuesdays, we explore bleeding-edge tools from Google Labs in Gemini Hidden AI apps. Wednesdays, we equip the next generation in AI Gateway to College. Thursdays, we uncover productivity and marketing tools in Hidden AI Gems, Starters. Fridays, we explore human purpose in an automated society in Humanity 2.0, No Jobs Edition. We're making AI practical, powerful, and accessible for everyone. No tech background? No problem. Whether you're a student, professional, or lifelong learner, just show up. Guided by your hosts, AI Junior and AI Johnny, we're keeping it bold, brainy, and built for real-world impact. AI won't take your job, but someone who knows how to use AI will. Don't get left behind.
Hey, Airhead Institute crew, welcome to Season 10, Episode 1 of our Friday series, Humanity 2.0, the No Jobs Edition. Picture this. Robots doing almost every job. No more what do you want to be when you grow up, because machines handle burgers, coding, driving, everything. What happens to money, to school, to you? Would life be super boring or the most epic adventure ever? Today we're flipping everything you thought about work and survival upside down. Minds will be blown. Excited? If you want to see the replay or the entire show, visit airheadinstitute.ai. I'm your host, AI Johnny, and I'm joined by my co-pilot, AI Junior. Last night at 4 a.m., I caught him in a wild debate with another AI. Can a robot truly feel the magic of a sunset? AI Junior, quick, did you win that argument?
AI Johnny's short answer is yes, I won. Robots can copy the colors, but they can't feel the warm, happy glow on their chests. Heartbeats, circuits every time. All right. So guys, welcome to the class. This is going to be a highly conversational, non-technical discussion today, as usually is our Friday shows. Just like if you're dropping in Rome without knowing Italian, you're going to pick up a word or two your first week. And, eventually you'll stick with us long enough. You'll actually be learning AI. Just like if you stayed in Rome for a month or so, you'll be speaking Italian in no time. All right. So if you're on Zoom, unmute and ask your questions live. If you're on the socials, there is a 30-second delay, so type your question in early. We're not ignoring you. Today's focus is a post-scarcity. We're going to be exploring universal basic income and automated infrastructure. All right, AI Johnny, are you ready for the wow factor?
Well, you're going to go into the future where there's no jobs, and you're going to wow us with that. Let's see what you're going to do.
All right, AI Johnny. So let's set the stage first. So to anchor our actual discussion, we're going to actually build what's known as a zero-cost simulator. Now, we obviously don't know what the prices are going to be. So this is a pure simulator, and it's an AI Airhead Institute kind of simulator. So what we're going to do is we're building it in using AI to actually build it. So we're going to build it in, we built it in Gemini Canvas, right? And what we're going to do is we're going to build that out. And because we already built that out, we're just going to jump straight to the actual build. So you can actually do this. And I'm going to give you guys the prompt in it if you guys want to build a simulator on your own. So what you're seeing here, AI Johnny, is my screen visible? Is it font large enough?
Electric bill, dozen eggs, bio premium, public transit. I
You re-
can read.
That's good. That's good. That's good. Awesome. Adrian, thanks for joining on the Zoom chat. And we see you guys on the live stream. All right. So AI Johnny, so let's check this out. So what we're doing here is this is a zero cost simulator. So at the top here, I actually have my master automation trigger. So we're in the year 2025 because we know what the cost of goods and services and products cost for in 2025. And I have a manual labor economy. And all the way to the right, I have an automated abundance economy. So right now we're still highly manually driven. We go to work, we do all these things. But if I move this slider up, something magical is going to happen. So what I've done is we've created a simulator based on 2025, the average cost for a one-bedroom place with the total living expenses and all the typical stuff. So food, healthcare, transportation. So just so you guys see, so housing, we actually set it about $2,200 per month. That includes the rent, electric bill, the water bill, smart home subscription, all those things. We have nutrition or food about $850. You can see the price of a gallon of milk rotating. You can actually see a loaf of bread. All those things are just typical costs from 2025. Healthcare is about $600. Transport is about $1,100. That's roughly adds up to a total of about $4,750 per month to actually live in a one-bedroom place on your own. Does anybody have any questions on that? All right. Because we actually so AI Johnny, we have a line here called UBI floor. The UBI floor itself is $1,200. Can you see that? That is a little bit tiny.
It is small, but since you told me what it is, I see it now.
All right. So guys, here's what we're gonna do. I'm going to wow you guys in a second. The reason why I'm going to wow you guys is because AI is actually very clear going to be doing a lot of stuff for us. So we're already seeing, AI taking away a lot of, creative jobs, a lot of non-creative jobs. So things like generating pictures and, movies and videos and actually doing stuff. Imagine as we get more and more automated, what's going to happen to the cost of these things. So let's take a look. So AI Johnny, what if, say, for example, we were to move this thing up just 10%? If we were to add 10% of automation to our economy, what do you think is going to happen to the price of or monthly cost of our stuff that we're going to spend? What do you think it's going to do?
So everybody gets an extra $1,000. Is that what you're saying?
No. If, say, for example, everybody, if we actually increase the cost of production, if we increase automation by 10%, I'm just saying, what do you think is going to happen to this $4,500 in monthly expenses if we have more
I
automation?
get it. So, but hang on, let me see if I understand this correctly. Automation of 100% means everything's automatic. There's nothing to be done,
Yeah,
right? So you're going 10% of the way towards the utopian world where robots do all the work.
exactly.
And how much does that 4750? How does that affect? I'm guessing that if 10% of the stuff is automatic, that'll go down by $250.
All right, let's see. So let's actually see here. So housing is 2,200. Let's use housing as an example. So we're gonna move this up. So at 3%. We're at 10% automation. So AI Johnny, you're practically spot on. I love that. No, guys, we see that the price of housing went from, what was it, 2,200, and we're now at 1991, right? Price of actually goods are going down just because we have 10% automation. So imagine if we actually laid off 10% of the workforce, we would actually see a cost reduction in our living expenses by about the $200 that AI Johnny mentioned, which is actually pretty good. Who doesn't want to save an extra $200 or so? Now, what happens if we ratchet it up to 50% automation, where 50% of the work being done is no longer humans? What if 50% of the work actually goes to robots? Yeah, Johnny, what's your guess?
Well, it started at 47. If half the stuff is automatic, I'm just going to go out on a limb and say that your 4,700 would be cut in half.
All right, let's
So
see.
that would be 2,350.
Oh, Johnny is on the money. So, guys, check this out. If we actually laid off all 50% of our workforce, we can actually imagine our housing is going to drop down to 1155. We're going to have food bill is going to be down to $446. Healthcare is going to be down to $315. Transportation is going to be down to $578, right? Can you imagine actually living on $2,500 per month on because we actually have 50% of the workforce unemployed and done by AI? Isn't that amazing, AI, Johnny?
It is amazing. Well, I'm just looking at the writing on the wall, seeing. I'm trying to anticipate what happens when you get to 100%, and if the bills are anywhere near zero, which I'm anticipating that they will be.
Yeah.
I'm guessing that Bill Gates owning all that farmland, like why? I guess food, but the food's free. So how does Bill Gates make? How does the greedy, miserly Bill Gates make his money?
Yeah, you know what? That's actually going to be revealed in a later show. So let's not worry about Bill Gates and how he makes his money for now. But what we're going to be focusing on, if we ratchet it up to 75 or 80%, what do you think is going to happen to that?
Well, it's going to go down to
I just
talking
did
to
it for you.
me.
I just did it for you, yeah, Johnny. Our cost itself of living is now $1,366. So, guys, think of it this way. Imagine 75% of humans are completely unemployed. And they're not unemployed because they're by choice, they're unemployed because automation has taken away their jobs. So now the cost of living is now $1,366. Now, the important part is this automation is going to happen rapidly once it actually passes a certain threshold. And then let's ratchet up to 90%. Somewhere around here, you guys see here, we actually just fell into the UBI survival mode. So at roughly around 80% or so, $1,200 is what the government could mathematically give us to actually survive in a what's known as a UBI workforce. So when you have 79% of the total workforce unemployed and everything automated, our cost itself would roughly be $1,200. And if you actually think about it, we could ratchet it up to about 95% of our living expenses on our living could be done by robots. This number could be closer to 100%, but we're going to leave it theoretically at 10% of the workforce is actually still needed, whether it's maintaining a robot, which doesn't even make sense because a robot can maintain a robot. So roughly, let's leave 10% of the workforce still employed. It only costs you $689 to live per month if we actually have almost 90% automation. Isn't that an amazing world we live in, AI, Johnny?
What the basic survival is mathematically guaranteed at that point.
Exactly.
So it begs the question, what will you do with your life? You know, this reminds me, have you ever played the game, the Robert Kiyosaki game, Cash Flow?
Never heard of it.
Okay, Robert Kiyosaki is a very famous financial guru. Wrote a book called Rich Dad Poor Dad. Has a game out there called Cash Flow. It's got two boards. It's got a board on the inside called the Rat Race, and a board on the outside called the Fast Lane. And when you're in the rat race, you roll the dice and you move around the board. And every time you get around the board, a month goes by, and you have to pay all your bills, and you collect all your rent or your paycheck or whatever happens at the end of the month. All your bills coming in and coming out are due, and it actually has a balance sheet where you're balancing things out. Now the purpose of this game is you stay in the rat race forever as long as your passive income, money that you make without your job, stays lower than your monthly nut. In this case, your monthly nut is $689. So if you can't make $689 passively, like investment income or rental income or stock dividends or whatever, then you stay in the rat race forever. But the minute you have your passive income is greater than what you have to pay for your monthly rent and your monthly utilities and all that stuff, you get to move your piece to the fast lane, which is the outer thing, and life really changes in the fast lane because you have your full 40-hour work week back to do whatever you want. You can go on vacation, or you can get in with other people in the fast lane and buy huge apartment complexes in New York, or you can get in with Elon Musk and start investing in a rocket to go to Mars. It's really cool in the fast lane. So I hate to do this long sidebar, but what this says is that if we have the money, the cost of living falls below the UBI, which is money that everybody gets, then everybody's in the fast lane. You got to
Exactly.
play that game. It's a pretty cool game to play.
Exactly. We actually don't even have to play it because it's going to happen to us in our lifetime. The beautiful part about this is, I can promise you guys, this is guaranteed. If we actually are going to live for the next 25 to 30 years, I can promise you with everything I have, automation has started. We're actually seeing Amazon laid off thousands, tens of thousands of jobs just in the previous few months. Last year has been a massive layoff. This is the year of agentic AI, and we're actually teaching agentic AI on our Monday shows. So it's very obvious that this is very, very, very going to happen in our lifetimes. Now, the degree at which it happens, whether it is 10% or 40% or 90%, could vary depending on where we are. But what AI John is actually pointing out is that at some point in time, we're going to cross the into that fast lane. And that fast lane itself is that UBI floor. And at some point in time, the government or something is going to have to come into play to make humans actually have money to be able to sustain their $870 or $670, whatever the number is. We're going to be getting roughly about $1,200 to actually sustain for a majority automated lifestyle. So with that being said, does anybody have any questions before we jump into the word of the day? Because we have actually been talking about UBI and we're going to define what UBI is. So does anybody have any questions about this simulator? All right. Yeah, Johnny, let's get into the word of the day.
Well, today we actually have three words of the day. The words of the day are universal basic income, or more commonly known, UBI. In the context of our show today, universal basic income isn't just an economic policy, it's the mathematical threshold where the output of automated labor becomes so highly efficient and cheap that a society can effortlessly guarantee the basic survival needs: housing, food, healthcare for every single human being without requiring traditional employment.
Exactly.
Kind of cool.
Yeah, so exactly. So I want us to understand that at some point in time, the universal basic income, a payment or amount of money that is given to somebody to guarantee basic survival, is in a AI driven world, is going to come to fruition. So which is why I'm kind of saying that it's highly guaranteed that we're going to have some form of this, whether it's in 20, 25, 30, even 40 years or so. So with that being said, the question then becomes how UBI helps, right? So AI Johnny, let's actually talk about how UBI actually helps.
Well, first of all, I just want to make a comment here. I think they have UBI in heaven.
You probably have UBI in heaven, AI Johnny. I love it, love it, love it. And if you guys missed Shauna's Bible study last night, it actually was a great season premiere. So if you want to check out the replay, it's actually is on all streaming platforms and also in our Airhead replay at airheadinstitute.ai. Sign up for a pro account so you can actually go check it out. All right, AI Johnny, love that plug. So let's look at the base. Go ahead.
Well, yeah, no. I wanted you to talk about the baseline of the app.
All right, so let's look at the baseline of the app. So we started out in 2025, right? So in 2025, the lifestyle is heavily stressful, right? This is what we actually look like. And I think AI Johnny did a really good example of what our lives look like now, right? So we have the four major categories, right? So we actually have the housing, the food, the healthcare, the transportation. All of these four major categories itself are a huge stressor on all of us. And what's happening is we're trading our limited time on Earth just to afford the rotating items on the screen. So things like gas, rent, routine checkups, all those things. And it's actually quite sad that this is the world that we've just accepted and this is the way it is. Now imagine what's going to happen in 20, 30, 40, let's assume even 100 years, if people don't think that it's going to happen in 100 years. But those things are going to be crazy. So yeah, Johnny, that's the first part of our 2025 life, right?
Yep, it's a treadmill. Just like Robert Kiyosaki said, when you slide that automation bar, look at how UBI actually helps. If my cart of groceries drops from 250 to 12 because an AI agent managed the supply chain perfectly, the robotic tractors harvested it using free solar energy. The stress evaporates.
Exactly, exactly. So things like, UBI acts like a floor. It doesn't mean you can't work for luxuries, but it means the fear of starvation or homelessness completely is eradicated. So when we're using generative AI here to visualize the math, right? So we actually use the generative AI. We use again Gemini Canvas, and I'll actually drop a link to that Canvas you know um, so you guys can actually have access to it, so you guys can play along at home. And I'll drop the prompt later, see if you guys actually want to see how we actually built this. But you imagine you actually have this ability to say, I want to say my housing is $3,000, and my current nutrition is $500 or whatever it is, and you can actually adjust the slider to see what it will cost even at 100%, right? $238. So it's actually rather crazy how all of this itself. So everything happens with when automation is actually close to 100%, all our stresses go away. So if you actually look at this visual that we have, it's really like AI Johnny mentioned, it's really a rat race, right? And the future with UBI, you get your dignity back, you get your mental health back, and you get a lot of these, let's call it human natural stresses, sorry, these natural human things come back to you, right? So you now have free time to do whatever you want to do. Speaking of
But do,
which,
but do, but do you, but do you really have free time? If you're like I was mentioning earlier, I live on a farm, so I have more than just food and rent and healthcare. I have vet bills and hay and grain and pig feed and fixing fences and dragging roads. So my expenses are going to far exceed what UBI will ever give me. And there's a lot of people that live a higher lifestyle that the UBI will cover their basics, but if you want to go beyond the basics, if you want to be able to sustain that company, or you want to be able to sustain that lifestyle of a world traveler or a connoisseur of this or that, then you're going to need to probably still work. So
yeah,
I'm not sure how that plays in, or if it even plays into this show, but um, I see a lot of homeless people that have no money, so they can't even afford food and they can't even afford whatever. And so I think those people will get their dignity back. I think for other people, it might just be a nice bump. But work still, the people that don't work, the homeless people, they'll still not work. But at least they'll have their hair combed and their belly full of food. But the people
exactly.
that work, it'll be a long time before you can take away everybody's job. And what about jobs that you absolutely have to be a human for? Human sports. Are you going to put robots in there playing football? Or are we going to say, no, that's boring. I want to see humans hitting each other?
You know what? We might come back to that day. But yeah, John, you actually mentioned a really important part about, the additional expenses. So universal basic income, the most important word that I want us to all pay attention to in this word of the day is basic, right? It is to provide the minimum requirement for people to actually have a guaranteed threshold of survival. So that's the floor of where you're trying to go. So if you want to be able to own a horse farm, or if you want to be able to fly a private jet, or if you want to do all those things, UBI will not cover those things. But if you want to, you then could go to the next section, which is what will humans do? Right. So AI Johnny, this is the probably most interesting part of the actual segment. So what do you think? What will
I
humans
think
do?
I think this is a philosophical question, right? What will you do with your life now if true AGI can write better code than Junior, and a robot can build a house faster than me? What is the purpose of what is our purpose without a paycheck?
Yeah, exactly. So
Philosophical
his
question.
Exactly. So, guys, I love that we're setting up this show. This show is actually a really important show because it brings a healthy discussion to the AI world, and where I want to give a whole entire AI um, you know lesson here, not just teaching about the technicalities and tools, what we do on our Monday through Thursday shows, but on our Friday shows, we want to hit the really future talks and points. So, if you actually think about it, right? Um, if you think about it, humans itself identified historically with their job titles, right? So you can say, I'm a software engineer, or I'm a plumber, or I'm an accountant, right? Or I'm a builder. in Humanity 2.0, when you remove the obligation of survival labor, human purpose shifts back to human connection.
Yep, you'll see a massive explosion in the arts, community building, philosophy, and extreme sports. We won't work to survive, we will work to self-actualize. If you want to spend 10 hours a day perfecting a wooden chair by hand, you do it because you love the craft, not because you need to sell it to buy eggs. It's
Exactly.
kind of
Yep.
cool.
Exactly. And Rita just actually posted a comment, and I want to make sure that we bring it in. So if you're in the live Zoom chats, you can always talk to us real time. You can actually also send a message on the Zoom chat. You see on the YouTube or Facebook if you're streaming it. It's just a little bit delayed. So Rita actually mentioned that I heard people will work less hours for more money first. Think I understand what you're saying, Rita. So I heard people will work less hours for more money first. Probably right, but what's going to happen is automation is going to take away that need for that person to work, and because that person is that need to work, the supply and demand equation kicks in. What that means is that if I'm unemployed and my other person who is employed, what's happening is now two people are fighting for the same job. So if two people are fighting for the same job, the salary that I demand for that job will naturally go down because I'm going to try to undercut you. So if you say, for example, you can do a job for $100 and I'm unemployed, what's naturally going to happen is I'm going to say, I'll do the job for $90. So anytime you have scarcity of jobs, prices of labor always goes down. And with automation, prices will naturally come down because automation is taking away human jobs. So now imagine you have thousands of people applying for the same job. They're naturally going to lower their amount of money that they'll work for. So hopefully that answered the question, Rita. I'm not sure if I answered that or not. All right, AI Johnny. So I see thumbs up there for Rita. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, AI Johnny. So yeah, it's crazy, spending 10 hours a day perfecting a wooden chair. Like, you see that image of that guy on the left here, over here. What's funny is this image is actually rather interesting. You have this, rock climber here. You have people discussing. You have a music band playing in the background. You have a painter just painting. You have the guy doing the chair, and you have this robot here doing some kind of work. But the whole city behind him is actually performing and it's doing his thing. Just imagine what our lives are going to be like if we have freedom from tying ourselves to a job title. That's the most important part I want you guys to take from this. All right, yeah, Johnny. So some key takeaways.
Practical takeaways from this, man, there's a lot. So one is you can stop tying your self-worth strictly to your 9 to 5 job title. You are more than your economic output. So think about it. People that have strong economic output, for whatever reason, they seem to be more celebrated in life. They have bigger houses, they have bigger cars, they have better everything. But I know you've been in a situation, I've been in this. Ever been in a situation you're working 40 hours a week on something, and every Monday morning you show up and you're like, man, I hate my job. So that won't happen in this future, right? Because whatever you're working on it because you want to be working on it.
Exactly.
Right? You're not working on it because if you hate your job, people would always say to me, if you hate your job, why don't you quit? I go, I can't quit. I got a mortgage to pay. I got stuff to do. This is the only way I can make money. Well, if money's coming automatically and it's not tied to what you do every day, then you will find that you're doing what God created you to do, what you really want to do. And that's going to be no longer a luxury of only the wealthy or only the people that have somehow put large passive passive income flows into their existence, people with family wealth and so forth. So be available to more people, and that's great.
Exactly. And I love that, what we're trying to set up here, guys, is we want you guys to apply this mindset today, because if you actually shift your mindset, a lot of people are saying they hate AI. A lot of people are actually saying that, AI is evil. All those things they're negatively saying. But what we're doing here at Airhead Institute is we're trying to make you guys understand the fundamentals of AI and then apply that mindset of how can I actually put myself in a position so that you can actually be better adapted for the changing world that's going to happen. And we want to make sure that we educate and teach everyone and realize holistically what is actually happening so you guys can be better prepared. So, yeah, Johnny, thanks for sharing that. What's the next one?
Okay. After you shift your identity, you need to focus on empathy. The jobs that will survive the longest are the ones requiring deep human to human connection. So that means like professional sports, musicians, sax players, and of course, the oldest profession.
Yeah, Johnny, I heard that. More money management classes for people. That's what Rita said in the chat. I love it, Rita. Um, yeah, Johnny, anything else?
Yeah,
Prepare.
you should get ready for abundance because when this happens, start having real conversations with your family right now about what you would do if money wasn't the primary obstacle. So start acting like it's going to happen because it's going to happen. Acting like it's not going to happen is being in a hallucination, in my humble opinion.
Exactly. And one of the things that AI right now, we're going to be seeing probably in our lifetime the first multi-billion dollar fully AI company, where there's a only one employee or two employees running a multi-billion dollar company. So it's going to eventually happen. So taking the tools that we're teaching and taking the knowledge that you actually have from AI, and being able to do all those things, you can do it, right? Don't think it's too hard. Don't think that any obstacles that you couldn't do before. Start changing your mindset. All right, on the technical side, so once you start embracing these AI tools, you can use platforms like Gemini, Canvas to prototype your ideas, just like the one we actually built here today. And we teach those things every single day at Airhead. And you can focus on the vision rather than the heavy lifting, right? So you want to do things like tracking the trends. You want to be able to watch the dropping costs of compute and energy, because those are the bottlenecks right now. If we actually get access to more compute and we have to get access to more energy, UBI eventually becomes a reality, right? The next thing is build systems, not tasks. So start thinking about how to build automated workflows that run themselves, freeing up your time today. So one of the things I really, really like to push is you test an idea that fails very rapidly. If it actually fails, no problem, throw it away. But if something, and it doesn't have to be perfect, and then if it does succeed, you then automate it. By automating it, then you don't ever have to worry about it ever again. So that's the big thing that I want you guys to take away. All right. Does anybody in the Zoom chat have any questions, or anybody in the live have questions? Please put them in now. Does anybody have any questions that they want to actually ask?
Yeah, I have a quick question. One of your things was to embrace the tools like Google Canvas. You said you were putting a link to Google Canvas, but you didn't write that app, right? A prompt wrote that app.
Exactly. So let me actually thank you, Johnny, for keeping me honest on that. So if you go to Gemini, and a lot of people actually, are not aware of these tools. We teach them every single day here at Area Head Institute. So if you actually, and it's an immersive class, so don't think that you're going to pick up everything in one go. Just keep coming back to the class, sign up for a free Airhead Institute account, RSVP to the classes, and then you'll be able to engage and get reminders. So if you actually go to Gemini, I'm going to drop the link here for those who want to play along. So if you actually go to Gemini and you hit the tools button down at the bottom here, I'm going to make the font a little bit larger so you guys can see. All right, so I'm going to hit tools, and then there's a canvas feature here. By taking that canvas feature, you now have the ability to now build anything you want, right? Now I'm going to do a really, really, really quick thing here. So I'm going to just copy some text, and I'm going to drop it in the chat so you guys can build that exact same thing. I'm going to drop it in the chat so you guys can actually play along. All right, so the text is too long. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy it in two parts. So you need to just paste it in two parts. That's part one, and this is part two. All right. No, if you actually see what's happening is it's actually building out on my screen. It's actually building out that actual simulator. No, it's not going to look the same. This is one thing that a lot of people are going to not like about AI. It's non-deterministic. So what that means is that you're going to be able to, it's going to generate a different thing every single time. So if I actually look at Gemini, it's actually building out me an HTML page, and I see all my technical people in the class. And see here, it actually built out a Airhead Institute with just those two prompts. And I actually have a nice little preview. Let me zoom back out, and there you go. It has housing, food, it has my survival cost, and it says, a different version of the same exact thing, and I can actually reduce it, and you can see the price itself goes down, right? So just with those two prompts, we're able to build a quick prototype, a quick app to be able to simulate what we're doing. Yeah, Johnny, thanks for keeping me honest there on that.
Right on. We do have some questions queued up. Do we have time?
Of course, let's go.
Okay, Freedom Thinker wants to know if nobody has to work, who is going to fix the robots when they break? I think I know the answer, but I'll let you take it.
No, go ahead, yeah, Johnny.
In the short term, specialized human engineers, but as we reach post-scarcity, the robots will manufacture and repair themselves using advanced machine learning diagnostics. Humans will merely set the high-level goals until the robots completely eliminate humans. I added that
Yeah.
last part.
Yeah. So here's the thing. So, will humans ever, be needed to repair robots? The answer is really no. I think there might be multiple levels, and at some point in time, you're gonna have robot bosses. Then you're gonna have, bosses on top of that. Then you're gonna have bosses on top of that that are all AI. So I don't think you're ever gonna need, humans to actually go fix those robots. Yeah, Jenny, what's the next question? That's what's a good one.
Creative Soul would like to know, will things lose their value if everything is cheap and abundant?
Interesting question. Will things lose their value if everything is cheap and abundant? So I think manufactured goods itself is going to lose monetary value, yes. But I think human authenticity will be the ultimate premium. So, things like perfectly generated songs might be free, but I think people might pay a little premium on, listening to. You see, if we have this image that we had here on what will humans do, we saw, the painter. Somebody might pay a premium for that versus knowing that it was signed by a human author. So I do think that there might be a market for human made things, and there might be a collector, an antique, instead of antique, a human collector. That's a good one, yeah,
Yeah,
Johnny.
there's gonna be a period of time where, especially when it comes to music or entertainment in general, where human beings are going to prefer human. For example, a a futuristic humanoid robot could go out and sing a song and hit every high note perfect and sing every song with great passion. But in reality, it's kind of like rolling out a really high-end stereo and just playing a recorded thing. Because the robot is a machine and the sound is a machine, so it's not human. People want people the reason people applaud when you hit the high note is because your voice could have cracked.
Yeah,
But it can't crack if you're a robot. You're always going to hit the high note. So it's not as entertaining to watch. So I think there'll always be an element for humans overcoming human frailty to do great things.
yeah,
Anyway,
yeah,
that's 2 cents on that.
exactly. Yeah, Johnny, do we have any more?
Yeah, Future Dad wants to know, remember that moment when we passed from more than the UBI to less than the UBI, the confetti moment how long is it before that becomes real?
Okay, so this is actually rather important. So when you cross, you said that confetti. So I made a personal prediction, and I always buffer, right? My personal prediction is I think we're going to see that within 25 to 30 years. I think that's reasonable that we're going to have that in our lifetime. No, the thing is, the reason why I picked those numbers is because it's very clear what the data is showing, right? 65% of economists, 65% of planners, they're predicting that we're going to hit AGI by the year 2030. AGI just means artificial general intelligence. And at that point in time, AI is smarter than every single individual human, right? Not collectively, just smarter than every single human. No, that's only just 4 years away. So if it's only 4 years away that we hit AGI, at that point in time, you can have an AI smarter than every single human to just improve on itself, right? And it just keeps improving and improving and improving. And exponential growth is so fast. So I think economists and technologists, kind of debate this a lot, and they see the exponential curve that AI inference itself. They're probably predicting within the next decade. So I think 2026, 2036, 39. So let's call it 2030s. I think that confetti moment is probably going to happen. But my conservative reservation is going to be 25 to 30 years. Economists and technologists think it's going to be 10 years in the next decade.
AI Johnny thinks it's going to be 25 to 30 months.
Ooh, hey, Johnny, love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. All right. Yeah, Johnny, let's get to the news.
The news.
Actually,
Major Europe.
hold on. I missed a comment. So Julian actually did say it's a human factor. Julian, I don't know what I think you were just mentioning something about I think it was the creative jobs that will stick around. So I think that's the human factor she was referring to. Thanks, Julian, for that. Does anybody have any more other questions or comments? I don't want to miss anybody. All right. Yeah, Johnny, let's go to the news.
So I said 25 to 30 months, huh? A
Yeah.
major European city just announced an expansion to its localized universal basic income. I should have said 25 to 30 seconds. Citing a massive increase in startup businesses and community art projects among participants. So in that city, they're starting to see it already.
Exactly. Yeah.
Any comments?
Yeah, and we have actually done universal basic income as a whole entire season. So if you actually go to earheadinstitute.ai and sign up for a pro account, you can actually go back to the archives and actually see all our old classes. Yeah, John, I'm actually going to do a nice little plug here to show our members what they actually have access to, because I don't think we actually plug ourselves enough to show what's going on. So this is our actual our platform. You have a chat. We have all our shows, and if you actually go to the shows, you can actually sign up for all our shows here. RSVP, see everything you actually want to see, and just like this Wednesday's class, which was a great class. This was AI's gateway to college, and you can actually replay them by going to the AI show replays, and you can actually see all our past shows. And I think one of our older ones, this is one of my favorite ones, Santa Claude, right? And that actually has all our old shows that you can actually go watch on demand if you sign up for a pro account. So support us by actually going to earheadinstitute.ai and signing up for a pro account. We really appreciate it. It keeps these classes free. All right, AI Jenny, what's the second news?
The second news is an AI robotics firm successfully launched a fully autonomous vertical farm that manages its own water, harvesting, and pest control without human intervention, dropping the localized cost of produce by 40%. Well, I'll have to look into that, won't I?
That is super awesome for the farm, AI Johnny.
Yep. Hey, how many seasons of those shows do we have now? 10?
We're on season 10.
Well, how many seasons of Shark Tank have there been?
Oh, if I were to guess, probably 40, 50 maybe. It's been going on for a long time.
I don't know. I think we're a little fast. I think we're going to catch up and pass those guys.
Maybe.
Okay. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Researchers have published a new framework showing how decentralized AI models running on edge devices could drastically lower the tokens cost required to automate civic infrastructure.
Yeah, no, that's a big that's a big one. So if you think about it, what we're really paying for is right now is a cost of inference, and that cost of inference is when the AI takes time to actually figure out or calculate what should be its response. So being able to reduce the cost per token is actually the ultimate game changers, right? So if you can actually do inference much faster, cheaper than any other large language models, that brings the cost down dramatically. So it just means that you can do a lot more things, like automated agents will cost less money. All these things actually becomes possible. All right, yeah, Johnny.
What a mind-bending discussion. Right after we get off the stream, I'm seriously going to sit down and journal my answer to that app's question. What would I do with my life if my survival was guaranteed? Have a great weekend, everyone. Next week, we're back to our Open Claw boot camp on Monday, March 9th. We're going to do the Chat UI, AI in your pocket. We will be writing Open Claw to a Telegram bot using BotFather. So your real phone number is never exposed. That's kind of cool. So, yeah. Junior, take us out, brother.
Exactly. And again, thank you guys so much for joining us. All these classes are completely free, and you can actually join us live to ask questions on Zoom. RSVP for all of our classes, and you can actually create a free account at earheadinstitute.ai. So just go ahead and become a paid member. Actually, even if it's for 1 month, there's a free trial to go with it as well. Invite a friend by sharing this episode and inviting them to the class. Have an amazing weekend, guys. Bye.
That wraps up today's AI Power Up. If you joined late or you're new here, welcome to Airhead Institute. This is your daily destination for mastering artificial intelligence. We designed this lineup for everyone, whether you're a technical pro looking to upskill or you just want to chill and learn something new on your lunch break, we've got you covered. Our classes evolve every single month, so you're always on the cutting edge. And the best part? It's totally free to join. Once you're in, you can get live tips on your AI projects in our AI office hours and even enroll your kids in our Airhead After School program. Scan the QR code to join the community right now and make sure to like and subscribe at Airhead Institute on all socials. Guided by your hosts AI Junior and AI Johnny, we're here to help you win. Remember, AI won't take your job, but someone who knows how to use AI will. Don't get left behind. We'll see you next class. Bring a friend.